Hey YouTube, this is Eddie's Tech Talk, and this is my full review of the Galaxy Tab S7. Now here I have the Tab S7 in 256 gigabytes. They did a sale on Samsung for Cyber Monday, and I picked it up. There's 3 colors, 3 storage options. I picked up this color, it's some kind of gray or silver, I don't know what the name is for it. And I got the 256 gig version because it was like 20 bucks more or 15 bucks more than the 128. So that was definitely the one to go with. So this is the Tab S7. Fantastic hardware. Again, I mean, if you watch my unboxing, you know, you'll just hear me say it again from a hardware, I suppose, standpoint. But the screen is fantastic. The colors that we're getting here is just, I mean, it's just awesome. And then the thin bezels, so modern. And then, of course, I mean, it's just so thin. So from a hardware standpoint, look, Samsung knocks it out of the park regularly from a hardware standpoint. Let's see if the camera will focus there. I don't know. And they did it here again with the Tab S7. The younger, or I'm not, sorry, not younger, they came out at the same time. The smaller brother of the Tab S7 Plus. So what you're getting from a hardware standpoint here, fantastic, no qualms. The screen is one of the best I've seen. The hardware is designed fantastically on the tablet itself. And the hardware underneath the Tab S7 is fantastic as well. At the time of this video coming out, it's still the fastest Android processor available. That's going to change in the early part of 2021. But right now, still the most powerful. And look, there's no lag. There's nothing there to really be disappointed about. So you can get this on sale now, about 550 bucks. It comes with the S Pen in the box, which is fantastic. So you can really see this has been called the Android iPad Pro, and you can see where some of that value is starting to creep in for the Tab S7 because you're getting a 120 hertz screen, fantastic, very fluid, I'll show you in a sec, and you're getting the pen or the pencil, however you want to say, you know, they have the Apple Pencil, this is the S Pen in the box, so that's fantastic. In terms of a value proposition, I'll talk about it. There's also a keyboard case for the Tab S7. It's kind of a two-piecer here. I'll get into that. And then to knock what was in the box, can't knock the pen. Love including the pen for the price. This is maybe the cheapest USB-C cable in the history of the world. Like, you can get this at your local gas station for $1 probably. I mean, that's pretty awful. And then the charging brick, too, it says adaptive fast charge. It doesn't charge that fast. It feels cheap, cheaper than what I remember Samsung Power Bricks feeling like. And the tablet can also accept much faster charging than the brick in the box gives you. So knock the charger, but love including the pen for the price. Now, the biometric is how you get in to the Tab S7. The S7 Plus actually has an underscreen fingerprint sensor. I'm not sure why they wanted to change that, but the button here, it's so fluid. Again, everything from a hardware standpoint, Samsung hit a home run on, which we've known. Look, I mean, if you follow Samsung for any particular amount of time, you know that they're pretty much unparalleled and go toe-to-toe with the Apples of the world in terms of the hardware design. Software is where Apple really, in some ways, look, I've been an Android user for 9 years. I was excited to jump back in to the Android ecosystem after a couple months away with the Tab S7. So I'm no Apple fanboy here, but Apple controlling the software and the hardware definitely puts it at an advantage. I would say one that's mostly moot on the Android phone side of things, just because Google, Samsung, everyone has invested so heavily into the phone ecosystem. So even though things don't work as well, and there are some things that the Apple ecosystem does well from a phone standpoint, you can get pretty dang close with a lot of Android features and integrations. On the tablet side, though, unfortunately, that's a different story. Again, hardware, fantastic. The fluidity here, off the charts. I mean, I haven't really used a device this fluid in a very long time, if ever. I'll show you my notes and my note-taking ability here. So I use OneNote personally. I'm researching heavily for a podcast I'm doing on the Oakland County child killer. So I've been taking copious notes. I can zoom in here, zoom in and out, and look, my writing is bad, but you can see the bad writing, like, show up in this. Like, this is very true to my on paper handwriting. I don't have to be extra deliberate. I don't have to do some of these things that maybe you have to do on something with lower fluidity. I can flow my letters together, and I mean, look, my writing is bad, but I can flow my letters together like I'm used to and get very close to a handwriting experience for myself on this tablet. I have used the Apple Pencil only very sparingly, and I have used the Surface a ton. I used that all my senior year of college for note-taking, and I would say that the Surface wins over the Samsung tablet in terms of the pen. I just prefer the Surface Pen over the Surface or the S Pen because I mean, the Surface Pen's a little bit bigger. I like the eraser button on the Surface. I just prefer that to the S Pen, but it's not, the Surface Pen isn't so much better than this that it really takes away too much from the experience here. And of course, the note-taking experience here is actually a little bit better than the Surface. The fluidity of the screen sure helps there. The processor screams. It's fantastic. The note-taking experience is awesome. So I'll show you guys right now me dragging this pen across the page in super slow-mo to see that refresh rate and how far behind the writing is of the pen. I'll just write something here quick also in real time just so you can kind of get an idea. So I am, let's bring this down, reviewing. See how I flew my E was flowing into my W? You can just be fluid with your writing like that. So look, my writing's bad, but it's very close to a pen on paper experience, the closest that I've had yet. So again, hardware fantastic, and that execution is great. But like I was saying, the Android phone side, we're very good. We have a lot of investment, but on the tablet side, it's kind of been Samsung left up to their own devices. And there's times when that works and there's times when that doesn't. Namely in this Samsung DeX mode. So this is obviously your standard Android tablet interface here that we're all used to. We can pull down for that. We can pull down for notifications. That's what we're used to. And then when you attach the keyboard, or you can initiate it via quick settings pull down, you can initiate Samsung DeX. So let's initiate that. It's now wireless, which is kind of cool. So you can cast it to your TV. So Samsung DeX, this is kind of their desktop mode. So you can see here, it looks a lot like a Chrome OS device, like a Chromebook. And I don't fault Samsung for this execution here to a point. I think that things are good. We've got quick settings down here. We've got notifications down here. Again, something very similar to a Chromebook experience. So you might think, hey, I'm getting kind of the best of the Android tablet because I've got the Android apps, the Android ecosystem, and I'm getting the best of a Chrome OS sort of setup. And I would say that you're kind of getting the worst of both, actually. This is where the Samsung, being left to their own, it kind of falls apart for me. This DeX mode feels very like a beta, like a software that's just not ready for prime time. Even still, I was hoping years of development would help, and it has to an extent, but some of the problems are just endemic to Android. So if I'm loading up sites in the Samsung internet browser, or I like to use Firefox, it'll always pull up mobile versions of sites because you're still using a mobile browser, so you're not getting a desktop experience. You can request a desktop window, but sometimes it's glitchy, sometimes it doesn't work. I'm not going to show you because it has personal info, but for instance, the Facebook desktop site works absolutely terribly here just because it's like trying to request the desktop site on a mobile tablet in a mobile browser, and for whatever reason, it just doesn't work that well. It just really doesn't. So I would say that you're kind of getting the worst, because if you have a Chrome device, a Chrome OS device, or a Mac, or a Windows machine, the internet kind of knows what you are, and it's going to give you things for desktop, whereas this is going to give you things for mobile, sometimes things for desktop. Things get weird. It's I don't know. It's just, part of that's not on Samsung, but to me, this experience was frustrating time and time again, just because sometimes I wanted a desktop site and I wasn't getting it. And then when I wanted a mobile site and got it, that was good, but again, then I just kind of maybe want to use it not in this keyboard mode. So it's just kind of a weird situation to be in. And then also, I just encountered some glitches in the software, just in general. So anyway, let's kind of just do a quick tutorial of the DeX mode. So it kind of opens and closes your apps, very similar to what you would see on a Note series device, or now they kind of have it on the S series devices as well. So you've got multi-window support here, which again is okay. It's fine. I'll show you Lightroom and Lightroom performance here in a minute. But we're getting decent performance from like a system standpoint, and we can do multi-window, and so that's good. But not all apps are optimized or work well in DeX mode. And then another real drawback, just the Android hasn't been invested in heavily on the tablet from the tablet standpoint. So luckily we have things like Adobe Lightroom, but I haven't seen things like Adobe Rush for video editing. There's a lot of productivity apps that aren't here. I went and logged in to my Creative Cloud on my lap or on my desktop earlier, and they were saying, hey, we're coming out with more apps for iPad. Well, they're not coming out with more apps for Android tablets. And that's a bit of a chicken and the egg problem, because if you don't buy the Android tablet, they're going to say, no one has these, we're not going to invest in them. But if you buy the Android tablet, then you're going to be stuck without them. So the app ecosystem here from a tablet standpoint really falls down. So that's unfortunate. And then even if this worked great, you're not going to want to spend a lot of time in here, because the keyboard that they released for this is like pretty terrible. Like, this is worth far less than their asking price. I just don't understand. It's just bad. Like, this is a bad product. The stand is actually like phenomenal. I actually leave this on the device a lot. You have a spot up here for your pen, so you can take your pen. This is where it goes, magnetically charge that bad boy up, which is an interesting location because you can't lay the tablet flat unless you have the stand without the pen kind of propping it up and maybe coming dislodged. But anyway, so the back of this is awesome. The stand is great. The hinge is stiff. That's awesome. But the keyboard, sometimes it's hard to mount it. I actually mounted it good there. But the keyboard is just bad. Like, the touchpad, it's small. Look, it's a small tablet, so it's decent size for its tablet size, but it feels like mushy. The touchpad feels mushy. The key clickiness is pretty good. I'm able to type decently with kind of few typos. Just, you have a lot of key cramping. Obviously not a full-size keyboard, so no function row. You're getting small caps lock, small backspace, small enter key. So the typing's okay, but the feedback isn't that great either. Like, it's just not a good keyboard, and I know, like, it's just not good. It's just a bad product. So DeX has some issues of its own, and even if DeX didn't have issues, you wouldn't want to spend time in it because the keyboard's bad. The Surface keyboard blows this thing out of the water. So do the Apple keyboards, or even the Logitech third-party accessories for those. So for me to spend money on something like a Tab S7, because this has DeX mode, whereas like the Tab S6 Lite does not, and the Tab S5e I believe does not. So smaller tablets that do almost all of what this does, maybe not quite as well. For instance, the Tab S6 Lite is about $250 on sale usually, and it has an S Pen 2, so maybe the experience isn't quite as good there, but you're getting about 80 to 90% of the experience for less than half the price. The only real thing you're getting with this, outside of the hardware improvements, is DeX mode, and DeX mode is not worth the price. It's not worth it. And so even if you got a different keyboard and connected it, to me or like Bluetooth keyboard, it's just not worth it. So that's the real letdown for me, and that's the reason I'm returning this device. you can get devices cheaper that do almost everything that this does. And to me, even though the screen's fantastic, even though the performance is great, let me show you the Lightroom performance. It's just not worth the price that they're asking for. So here we have a Lightroom photo. We can zoom in. My girlfriend's going to probably hate me for this. I think she looks great in this photo. But we can go here. We can adjust exposure very quickly. We can do all sorts of things. Contrast. So look, Lightroom performance is good. The pro apps that are here are great. You can have a FET. You can go with the vignette. You can do all sorts of things on here, provided the app's here. And again, the apps just aren't here that much. So look, the Tab S6, like a lot of Samsung tablets over the years, fantastic hardware, beats the iPad Pro and the iPad Air in some ways, but it falls short in other ways that matter, and it even falls short to some of the computing solutions you might use instead. Maybe you'd buy a Chromebook instead, maybe you'd buy an iPad instead, maybe you would buy a cheap Windows laptop, I don't know. But to me, you're not really getting the good compromise, like the best of each world to kind of meld in here. You're kind of getting the worst. So this has been Eddie's Tech Talk reviewing the Tab S7. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. Wanted to love it. Ultimately, it just wasn't for me. So again, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And look, it looks great. It looks great in photos. Looks great in video, but it just didn't do it for me. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one.